It's you and me.
Let's go. And we are in Creepy Town Junction.
It had been about a week since the white-haired girl had taken up residence in the mansion. Staying in that house, deprived of light, was, I imagine, a very claustrophobic experience. To anyone blessed enough to have sunlight as part of their everyday lives, it would have been unbearable. But for her, the mansion, with its prison walls and lack of illumination or recreation, was the one place she could find respite. She and Michel continued to be distant, however. He spent most of his time in his chambers, which he had explicitly told the white-haired girl to stay out of, leaving her unable to close that gap. Nonetheless, on the occasions they did cross paths in the hallway, their eyes would meet, if but briefly. It was never for more than a few seconds. Whenever she saw him, she made a point of giving him a little smile. He never said anything, but still, when she had first arrived, he would not even met her gaze. He seemed to be taking more and more notice of her. One day, the white-haired girl stood in the cellar, a frown on her face.
Well, this is troubling. I can't go down into the village, but if I don't do something soon...
The cellar was where their food was stored, an assortment of non-perishables and dried foods, smoked meats and cheeses. Her daily meals were taken from the supplies there. However, the stockpile was beginning to grow quite small. Were she not on the run, she could have gone to the village to procure. Were she not on the run, she could have gone to the village to procure more. Or perhaps, were she a little tougher, she could have captured a wild animal for its meat. But master, you knew a young, delicate thing like her was hardly up to the task of hunting for food.
How does he normally get his supplies, I wonder?
From there, other questions about Michel started rising in her mind. No matter how lifeless he seemed. Surely he still had to eat, right? The white-haired girl nodded, then made her way out of the cellar, intending to head for his bedchamber.
Ah.
But on her way there, she spotted him standing by the entrance, staring motionless at the door, lit by a single candle. He appeared to be waiting for something.
May I ask you a question?
Go on.
I was just down in the cellar, and I noticed we were running low on food. Do you normally go down to the village to restock?
I haven't been outside in 10 years.
Then how do you...
What if I told you I don't eat?
What?
That I am not of this world, and as such, I have no need of sustenance. What would you think of that?
That sounds very, economical? If you can survive without having to eat, that's one less thing for you to worry about. If it were possible, I'd like to have that ability too.
It would seem trying to frighten you is a waste of time.
Was I supposed to be afraid?
Never mind. It doesn't matter. You asked about the food in the cellar. It's getting to be about that time. Wait, and you will find out.
What do you...
It's here.
Oh?
If you want to know where my supplies come from, open the door.
He just gets food delivered to him?
DoorDash?
No, it sounds like his family still takes care of him.
Yeah.
Even it's like they put him in this mansion
because he's cursed, but they love him.
Yeah, they still want him to survive. But I'm in hiding.
There's no one at the door anymore. The knock is nothing more than a signal.
A signal?
The white-haired girl turned toward Michel to press him for more information, but he averted his gaze. "Find the answer yourself," he seemed to be saying. She took several moments to gather her will, then marched over to the door.
So bright.
The sunlight, which she had not seen in some time, was so bright it seemed to burn her eyes. Although the sun itself had not gotten any brighter, she had simply spent so much time in the dark, her eyes were no longer accustomed to that much light. The color of her eyes made them quite sensitive to light already, so when she stepped outside, her whole world went bone white. The white-haired girl stood motionless for 10, perhaps 15 seconds, and when her eyes had finally adjusted to the light,
What's this?
she noticed a crate on the ground at her feet. She turned her head back to ask Michel about the box, but the mansion was so dark it appeared to be wholly severed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I read several, and I was like, why are you having a hard time with that one?
Severed. She turned her head back to ask Michel about the box, but the mansion was so dark it appeared to be wholly severed from the outside world. From where she stood, she was unable to distinguish Michel from the shadows. A pang of nervousness struck her. She wanted to return to that darkness as quickly as possible. The white-haired girl had come to yearn for that world without light more than the one with. The crate was fairly hefty. The slightly built girl had considerable difficulty bringing it into the house. But eventually, she did manage to drag it through the front door. And then, everything went dark once more, except for the faint flicker of the candlelight floating in the air. You can leave it there. I can take care of the rest.
What's...
Without a word, Michel approached her and the box, withdrawing a knife that he had evidently kept hidden somewhere on his person. With it, he cut through the rope that bound the box. Go on. Open it. At his instance, she placed her hand upon the lid. She had no idea what lay inside the unexpected delivery. Whoever brought it was already long gone. Staring at the strange box, she was wrecked with nervousness, however. What she found when she pushed aside the lid was completely ordinary food. Is something amusing?
It was just rather anticlimactic. Here I was, worried about what might be inside.
We were just talking about the supplies in the cellar.
So we were. It completely slipped my mind. This should last us for some time. It's all preserved, just like what's in the cellar. But I don't understand. Who would deliver all of this to you?
There should be a book in there as well.
What? Oh, there it is. In the library, he said that his family sends him 1 book a month. Does that mean this box came from them? If so, then why did the person who delivered this without speaking to him? Leave. Oh, why did I totally... Yeah, whoa, I totally skipped that one word. If so, then why did the person who delivered this leave without speaking to him? What happened between him and his family? Is he here because they want him here? Or because he chose to be here? I wonder, is it all normal? Is forever normal? Okay, that was the only funky part.
Or was it Morgana trying to skew it because she doesn't want us to remember, or just saying it's futile?
Or we're Morgana? Or we're Michel.
I thought the Archangel's name was Michael. Is that a translation thing? Is it Michel? Michel.
It might be. Who knows? Maybe it was meant to be Michel.
Oh well, what's done is done. Take the book to the library, please. I will bring the rest of the supplies to the cellar.
But it's a big box. I'm sure you could use some help carrying it.
Honey, you're as frail as a bee. Well, not bees are pretty strong. You're just frail. That won't be necessary. Take the book and go.
But...
Fine, then stay here. I'll take care of everything.
What? Wait, hold on, please.
What is it?
You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. And, I'm not trying to pry, but I can't help but be curious.
Say what you have to say, please.
I was wondering if you could tell me why you live here in the mansion. Why did whoever delivered this box leave before you even opened the door? Could you perhaps be imprisoned here?
I told you this the very first day. I am cursed. It's only natural for a cursed man to live in a cursed house.
Yes, but that's such a vague answer. I don't understand why you're in the situation you are. I don't know how you feel about it. There's so much I don't know. And I'm not even sure if your curse actually exists.
I see. That is a perfectly reasonable doubt, from your point of view. Having been branded a witch because of your appearance, it would make sense that you would think my curse might be fabricated, or perhaps a metaphor for something else. All right then, come with me.
What?
I'll show you my curse.
Oh no, he's taking us to the bedroom?
As he turned on his heels, the white-haired girl caught a glimpse of what appeared to be a smirk on his face, like the whole thing was some kind of sick joke. That smile carved into his mask was far colder than any look of annoyance or rejection. But despite the twinge of nervousness, she still followed after Michel. As much as he might have stood out in the crowd with such height and long hair, his presence was almost entirely eroded away by the darkness. She felt that he could simply fade away into nothingness at any moment. Many things are buried here.
Did we just go outside instead? What?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Mice, insects, wild cats, and dogs. Have you ever thought it strange how little life there seemed to be around this mansion?
You're right. I haven't seen a single creature since I arrived. The only sound you can hear is the wind blowing. Now that you mention it, it did seem peculiar.
They were all killed by me. Or rather, they lost their lives because of me. You have your answer now. A butterfly fluttered its way into the ruined gate, dancing up and down through the air. Michel held out a finger before himself, and the butterfly mistakenly took it for a branch, drifted down upon it to rest its wings. Had the scene stopped there, it would have been a picturesque moment. All that comes in contact with me loses its life. My skin, The breath I exhale, my flesh and blood, is poison to all life. But the butterfly's movement began to slow. It spread its wings in one last, futile attempt to fight gravity. And then, without warning, it shriveled up into a dried husk.
Oh, my butterfly. Oh. It's dead, all dried up and lifeless. Like it's been dead for days. It's like his finger drained all the life out of it. Is this his curse? Is that even possible? But I saw it with my own eyes. If this is... How was he born? Sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. So I'm thinking like, oh, did it kill the mom, then kill the doctor, and then kill the nurse? And then people are like, hey, maybe we should stop touching this baby. Or he got cursed later down the line. So
maybe, okay. If this is his curse, though, it explains much.
There are more than just insects and animal corpses buried here, too. Servants who came to visit me long ago.
Are here, beneath the ground? Under our feet?
That's why the servant leaves before I open the door. Should he touch me, should he get near me, his very life is in danger. No one is interested enough in seeing me to take that risk. No one will have anything to do with me. Nary a soul even wishes to see my face. Now you understand what I meant when I said I would eventually kill you.
So that's why you have never once touched me.
I mean, you just don't go around touching strangers.
When I knocked the books down in the library, you didn't offer your hand to help me up.
That's a good point.
That's what I was thinking. And only one of us... And only one of us ever made contact with the box at the entrance at a time. When I offered to help carry it, you refused. Because you didn't want your finger to accidentally brush against mine.
My actions were not out of concern for you. I simply dislike people. Others' interests mean nothing to me. What an odd face you're making. Do you not believe my curse is real?
No, I do. It is certainly irrational, inexplicable. It is certainly irrational, inexplicable, unbelievable. But you've shown me more than enough evidence. And I don't believe you're lying to me right now either.
In which case, you now understand how dangerous it is. Whoa. In which case, you now understand how dangerous it is to be near me. You said that if you left, you would be killed. But it's been some time since then. If you're careful to cover your tracks, you could make your escape. You do not belong here.
He was telling me the truth about being cursed. What a cruel burden to have to bear. Okay, get out of here then. Jeez. I can't imagine just how much he's given up on. How many lives he's inadvertently taken. And how he must have felt every time it happened. How much pain that loneliness must have given him. How much despair he must carry in his heart. How much sorrow must be weighing down on him. So no, I will not leave. I will stay here with you.
Leave this place.
No, I will not.
Why? Why do you insist upon remaining in this house after learning what I can do? You have no reason to stay.
Tell me then, why do you try to drive me out? If you don't care for others, as you say. If you're not concerned about anyone else, then what does it matter what I do?
Well, for one, you're eating his food.
Then what does it matter what I do? What does it matter if I die to your curse?
Because then he'll have to bury you.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. You're a very kind-hearted man.
No, he's not.
You've been watching out for me since the day I arrived. Doing whatever you can to not inadvertently kill me. To not afflict me with your curse.
No.
Here's what I think. No one capable of showing genuine care for others can honestly, truly dislike all people. They can't possibly be indifferent.
No,
That day we met before the stained glass window, you heard me out, you listened to my plight. You didn't try to chase me out. That day I thought you to be a good person. And I still believe that. He looks mad.
I simply assumed you would leave on your own when it was safe. I never thought you would be so foolish as to want to stay in the house like this, with a man like me.
How does that make me foolish?
Do you not value your life? Are you not afraid of death? Do you not find me unpleasant?
The thing I fear most is loneliness. You're probably right that, by now, I could safely sneak away, get myself somewhere far from here. But even if I did, I would inevitably. But even if I did, I would inevitably find myself in the same situation. The only way I can avoid that fate is to stay away from everyone. To live in solitude with no one to talk to. I know you understand how that feels. It terrifies me. I'm afraid of having to spend day after day with no one to talk to. No one to share my experiences, my thoughts, my feelings with. If that's what awaits me out there, then I want to live with you. I want you to be an essential part of my life.
Impossible.
Please, don't chase me out.
You are a cruel girl. Never again will I allow myself to get close to someone, only to watch them die. Never again. My mother was first.
Well, we found that answer out.
My mother was the first to die. It happened shortly after my birth.
How were you raised? Like, someone has to touch you, the baby.
No, they probably figured out after everyone kept touching him. Like, the mom and the whole nursery died, probably.
Dang.
Next, my wet nurse. 2 deaths could be considered a coincidence. But as the number rose, it became clear that I was cursed. And I was forbidden from making contact with anyone, even at home. Regardless, being in the same house, accidents will happen. Numerous people lost their lives. Attendants unfamiliar with me, and those who simply brushed up against me by mistake. I couldn't take it any longer.
So you chose to move here, to this remote mansion, to keep yourself away from your family. You weren't imprisoned here. You elected to live alone, so you wouldn't hurt anyone.
For better or for worse, I was born into a noble house. Rather than abandon me, they provided me the means to live out of sight.
I will be very careful. I will do everything I can to ensure no accidents occur. To keep you from being alone again. I will not for any reason touch you. You have my promise. Your curse takes the life of anything you touch. I've been here for a while, and death has not befallen me yet. As long as I do not touch you, there shouldn't be a problem.
Now, my question is it skin to skin or just in general? Because, like, if you rub shoulders and you're both wearing shirts, is it fine? Or is she dead?
It said brush up, so I assume just touching in general, whether
I don't know, like, what if he was
not.
wearing a tank top and, like, he's an adult, the hand is at, like, you know, shoulder height for a kid or something.
Yeah. I don't know.
And hands are exposed.
I don't know. Good question. Also, and I apologize if this is simply me reading too much into things, but I feel like we're two of a kind. I fear being utterly alone more than anything, and I think you understand just how scary that is. So...
Why? Are you so stubbornly insistent on it being me? I'm sure there's someone else out there. Someone you're meant to be with. You may not have found them yet, but I believe someone like you will eventually. Because unlike me, you still have the vigor to press forward.
It has to be you. I'm certain of it.
Why?
Because, well,
You can't tell me?
No, I can just... Please don't get upset with me. I think...
No. Tell me. Okay.
Confession? I might really, really love you.
I don't think so. It's highly circumstantial.
It's also kind of obsession, like...
Oh, that was quick. That was only 20 minutes.
Oh, dang, that was a fast section. I think it's the circumstances of them being in the same boat, and that's why she's more attracted to him.
Yeah, and he is pretty cute.
He is pretty cute.
I mean, that hair, like...
Hey, you! Yeah, you! Did you like the video?
Maybe consider subscribing. We like your company.
Okay!
See you next video.